what's going on out there? I'm Sean Devine. Hope you all are doing well. Today I have a new video where we're going to show you a little bit more in depth my workflow with the Nerve drum machine and loop plugin. This is something I get a lot of questions about. I've been using this for many years, and it has very much informed my creative process in terms of drums and my workflow. I'm very fast with this plugin, and so I want to show you how I use it, explain some of the unique features that make Nerve a standout to me. I was using Battery 4 from Native Instruments almost exclusively. I still use Battery 4, but I reach for Nerve quite a bit more often just because of the unique things that it can do with loops and also with your drum samples. So let's go ahead and jump in here. I want to talk a little bit about the interface, and then we're going to dive in, and I'm going to actually sequence some things so that you can see what my workflow is with Nerve. So first, you're going to see up here we have our sequencer section. You've got controls over things like velocity, cutoff, resonance, pitch. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. Down here we have our 16 sample or loop pads. This is where you're going to load your sounds. And you can also map those to trigger on your MIDI keyboard. So then down here, we have some controls in the pre-calc tab. So that's going to open up both a reverb that you can use individually on your sample or loop pad, as well as an EQ. And then from the pre-calc menu, you've got some unique sound design options here. We can do things like re-pitch. We can even do some resynthesis, very cool stuff. So then down here, you're gonna see that I have mapped the outputs to a multi-output instrument within Logic so that I can use each of the individual tracks in the mixer and control those sounds and samples from there. Over here, we have our output volume for each of the pads, as well as pan, pitch, and fine-tune controls. So up here, we've got our standard ADSR kind of controls here. We can change the attack, the sustain, the release of our individual samples. Very useful. And then we can also change from one shot to a loop. So this is when you load up a loop, which in my case, I've got 2 down here. So we're going to switch that to loop. Now, the cool thing about Nerve is when I hit that loop key or that loop toggle button there, it's going to break the loop or the file into slices. So you see down here, it's created 16 slices out of this loop. So let me solo this, and if we press play, it'll cycle through that loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to this chain menu. Now what this is going to allow us to do is chain together different sequencer patterns. So right now, if we just had it on 1, then it's just going to play back 1 cycle of this sequencer, which is equal to 1 bar. So I want to do 2 bars. So it'll go through 1 and 2 here of the sequencer. And we're just going to kind of rearrange this loop a little bit. So I'm just going to just get a little crazy here. Let's just kind of start painting. Let's go to chain 2. And let's just see what that sounds like. Not bad, not bad. So now let's talk about some of the other controls up here in the sequencer. Let's go to the cutoff tab. And what this is going to control is the frequency cutoff here in the filter. So let's turn on the band pass here. I'm going to adjust the cutoff and the resonance, and you'll see that moving up here. And then we're going to start to make some changes to it up in the sequencer. And let's see what that does. All right, so let's go over to pan. I'm just going to do just what you think it will, but we're going to kind of go left and right with this. Let's just see what this is going to do. All right, so now let's go into the pre-calc menu. Let's do some crazy stuff here. So just using the reverb, and then we adjusted some of the bit rate and the sample rate adjustment there. So now let's go into starting to sequence some of our one shots. Okay. So all we need to do with this is, let me just go back to our pattern 1 here, and we go up here to the velocity tab. And this is very similar to something like FL Studio if you're familiar with sampling drums according to a grid in a sequencer. All we got to do is just go up here and draw a couple of lines here with the velocity. So I'm going to turn down the loop a little bit. So now I'm going to go to that loop. I'm going to go back to the EQ. We're going to take out the low end of that loop. All right, so what I just did was by holding the Option key, if you hold the Option and you click this velocity up here, we can get these very cool divisions of the sample. So if you want to do something super fast, you can just move it up here. And if you go to that arrow, that will actually do a reverse. All right, so now going over to our hi-hat, this is where that note division stuff gets really cool. If you're trying to do like fast trap hi-hat type of stuff, let's just lay out a quick pattern here. Okay, so now if we want to do those fast notes, I'm just going to hold Option and we'll just drag that down. Pretty easy, right? A lot of people are like, how do you do the fast hi-hats? You know, you got to go into the piano roll and get all crazy with it, but with Nerve makes it very, very easy. So now let's go up to the pitch and let's actually modulate the pitch of our hi-hats. Let's go back here and maybe we'll just kind of have them rising in pitch at the end of each of these bars, and then this one will go maybe down. All right, let's add maybe our breath here. Let's try and put this little ratchet sound in there. And I'll put a crash at the beginning. But anyways, y'all, you'll get the idea of how you can sequence things pretty quickly. Now, let's go back and let's just say, okay, we've kind of settled on something that I like in terms of some of the patterns here. What we can do by holding down Option and Command and then dragging into Logic, that will copy that kick pattern. So if we solo that, what was just going on here in Nerve, we've just dragged out. So we could do the same thing for like our snare drum. Could do the same thing for whatever we've laid there. I haven't used that. Let's say the hi-hat. So you can immediately get a bounce in place, if you will. of what you did in Nerve. So the reason why this is so cool is because once you've got something sequenced, you can commit to that sound and get that pattern directly into Logic and start using audio for your sequence. And then all you need to do is just turn off the sequencer in Nerve, or you can even disable that cell. All right, y'all, so that is a quick look at a little bit of my workflow and how I'm using Nerve sequencer as well as the drag and drop functionality to get my patterns and my drum sounds into audio very, very quickly into Logic and be able to arrange and make adjustments there accordingly. So Nerve is a very powerful drum and loop tool. If you're interested, check it out. It's at xferrecords.com. Also, if you like the sounds you heard here, these are from my niche drum and loop kit. It's available on my website. If you have any questions or comments about the Nerve drum plugin, feel free to leave it below. If you learned anything in the video, please like, subscribe, and consider sharing. And we'll talk to you soon.